10 and 11 because they're not as cool as the other one. So this is an artist rendition of Pioneer 10, and I just thought it was a cool painting. And Pioneer 10 is an American space probe from NASA. And it was launched March 3rd, 1972. And it's a big deal because it was the first mission to Jupiter. And that's a picture it took, but it was damaged by radiation, the camera. And it studied Jupiter's atmosphere mainly, and Jupiter's moons. And then this is an artist rendition of Pioneer 11. And it also went past Jupiter, so it took a picture of Jupiter on the way, and it's just like a nice little comparison between the two, like how technology for us has gotten. And so I thought it would be cool to show that. And should have done this a bit earlier. Ward told me to include this little tidbit. It's kind of out of order. I messed up on that. But Pioneer 10 is heading toward the constellation Taurus, Aldebaran, which is right there, and it will take Pioneer 10 about 2 million years to reach it, which is pretty cool, I think.
Very cool.
Yeah, I just forgot to move.
Okay.
Yeah, back to Pioneer 11. It was launched about a year later from Pioneer 10, and it was another big deal because it was the first probe to encounter Saturn, and it took some pictures of Saturn, and it studied the asteroid belt and Saturn as well.
Okay, me and Kylie did Voyager 1 and 2. And Voyager 1 and 2, they were exactly the same. They had the same instruments and everything on it. It's just they took some different paths. So what they studied was the magnetic fields, low energy, charged particles, cosmic rays, plasma and plasma waves from planets and moons. And this is the heliosphere, and that's what they just went through, I guess. And heliosphere is a bubble around the sun because the solar winds from the sun is pushing out, and then from other stars their solar winds are pushing in, and we get this bubble around our sun. And then some onboard equipment is the magnetic field instrument, low energy charged particle instrument, cosmic ray instrument, and plasma instrument, and plasma wave instrument. And Voyager 2 and Voyager 1 are both in interstellar space right now. Voyager 2, it was announced just on Sunday that it went into interstellar space. And then here's an artist rendition of Voyager 2, and then with all of its instruments. And this is actually the golden record, and Kylie, tell me about that.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with the golden record. If not, I will tell you about it. So the golden record is basically a record of everything on Earth that they could fit into 2 hours worth on the record. So it has 55 spoken languages from Attican, which is super ancient. We probably don't use it anymore. And also and ended with Wu or Shanghainese. So it has sounds of Earth like the forest or ocean, birds, any nature sound you could think of. Also has 90 minutes of music. It has Johnny B. Good on it. So yeah, pretty cool. And then 115. Stop. Okay. There's also 115 images on it. And here we have where they could, if there is intelligent life form out there, where they can find us from, like, star points, and so we're right there. So there controversy over that, because a lot of people, they just, well, okay, if there is life out there, why would we want them to know where we are? Because one person quoted, if, like, they're probably out there blowing up planets for fun, and, which is highly unlikely, but it could happen. There also was, there was just a bunch of controversy what should go on the album cover, and one idea was proposed of a drawing of a male and a female, and they were both naked, and that caused a lot of controversy, because we're just like, no, we can't have that. So they just have silhouette of a man and a female. And then the planetary alignment, this only occurs 175 years. So the last time this happened was when Jefferson was president. So we didn't have the technology then to go up to space and check out the planets. So, but Nixon was president when the 2 Voyagers were sent up. And how they proposed the idea, they just said, okay, so this is the only time this has happened, and last time the president couldn't do it. Do you really want to go down as the president and said, oh yeah, we're not going to do that, because who wants to see a bunch of planets? So Nixon kind of agreed and just said, you know what, like, I will allow you to go to 2 planets with this. So that's how he got the grant. And so they were just pushing to even just go to the 2 planets, and hopefully they could bounce off from the 2 planets to all the other planets in this gravitational alignment. So, like, they would come here, go to all the way to Jupiter, and then bounce off and try to get everything they could. So Voyager 1 was launched on September 5th, 1977. What it studied was weather, magnetic fields, and rings around 2 other planets. So, making it to space. That was questionable for Voyager 1. It was launched a couple days after Voyager 2, actually, but at a higher speed, velocity. Thank you, Brenna. But when it launched, they realized that the rocket itself was leaking fluid that it needed to get the second push up into outer space to even make it into where it could go on the alignment. It had 3.5 seconds left of fuel to push, and if before it hit where it was in the gravitational alignment where it could just go on itself, if we used up that and we weren't even close, Voyager 1 would have drifted into the sun, and that would have been a waste of almost $1 billion. So, yeah, not pretty good for America. So these are some of the pictures that Voyager 1 took. It took over 32,000 pictures of Jupiter, Saturn, and their moons and rings. And so when the mission was all complete after the 70s, where they went to Titan and Io, that's why it was sent off into a different location than Voyager 2, so it could get closer to Titan and Io. Why are you looking at that? And so, but in the 1990s, it was quiet for a long time. 1990s, it turned back on, and it took pictures of all of our solar system from outer space, like way, way out of there from our solar system. Then these are some of the original photos that they did take of Titan and Io. And then this is more of a sped up version of it getting close to Jupiter. And then here is one of the photos it took of up close to see all the storms that is occurring on the planet. Okay, the pale blue dot. So, I don't know if you guys know, but this is us. From where Voyager 1 was.
4 billion miles, I think.
40.5 AUs away from Earth.
Yeah.
So this photo was taken on February 14th, 1990. In this picture, Earth is less than a pixel big. So it kind of makes you feel like, hey, we're just a tiny little speck of dust. And this, they didn't even want to take this photo, but Carl Sagan, he really pushed for them, because he just said, hey, this is probably the only time we can get a photo this far away from Earth and still actually see where we are. I actually have a really cool video of him explaining the pale blue dot.
That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors, so that in glory and triumph they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. How frequent their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatreds. Our posturings, our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe are challenged by this point of pale light. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. The Earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit? Yes. Settle? Not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, the Earth is where we make our stand. It has been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known.
I thought that picture was taken through like Saturn's rings, but according to this video, it's not.
There is a picture through Saturn's rings
Okay,
also.
but that's not the one.
No, no.
What are the bands of light?
Those are
An
from the
artifact
sun.
Oh, it's
Oh,
that's
yeah,
right.
they-
of glare.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
It's not on here.
It's the Wi-Fi on and off. No problem.
Yeah, there's another picture of Saturn's rings with Earth right below it. I wonder if that was from Cassini though. Possibly. I don't know. It all gets kind of blurred together. But that pale blue dot, that's good stuff, Kylie.
But yeah, so I'm gonna move on to work.
I did Voyager 2, and it was launched 16 days before Voyager 1 on August 20th, 1977, and it studied Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and 48 of their moons. And here's a picture that I got of it. What it ended up studying, it studied Jupiter's turbulent atmosphere with dozens of interacting hurricane-like storm systems, erupting volcanoes on Jupiter's moon Io, and the Io Taurus. And the Io Taurus is a thick ring of ionized sulfur and oxygen that Io ends up giving off, and it actually inflates Jupiter's giant magnetic field. An indication of an ocean beneath the cracked, icy crust of Jupiter's moon Europa, and waves and fine structures in Saturn's icy rings from the tugs of nearby moons. It studied Titan's smoggy atmosphere, as you can see in this picture that it took. The surfaces of frozen moons shaped by ice volcanism and faults. Neptune's great dark spot, which I'll show you a picture of later, and 1,000-mile-per-hour winds. Geysers erupting from the polar cap of Neptune's moon Triton. And the termination shock, which you saw in that picture before. And then here are some pictures that Voyager 2 actually took. That one over there is of Neptune's rings. And then these are 3 of Uranus's moons that Voyager 2 actually discovered. We didn't know that they were there until Voyager 2 went by. There's a picture of Saturn's rings. And the colors in this picture just show the different chemical compositions that are in the rings. So each color is a different chemical composition. And then here's a picture of Jupiter's great red spot that Voyager 2 took. Some volcanic eruptions of Peely on Io is over there. You can see up here. And then Neptune's great dark spot. And then our work second. Any questions?
You said that Voyager turned off for a while, and then what, turned back on?
Yeah, they regained connection to take pictures of
So
our
they
our
lost connection and